Good day, everyone. So I am Carmen Aramis Gutib, and I will be going to report about association learning. So there are three basic prototypes of learning that demonstrate the characteristics of associative learning: classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and verbal association. Gagne adds a fourth that relates to these three, which is chaining. So first, we have the classical conditioning is the process where the learner associates an already available response with a new stimulus or signal. So it means that individual, young people, or even students respond to a signal. They have to be trained what a signal means and what they are required to do. This is very similar to Pavlov was trying to do also. This is learning by association. You associate a signal with what you have to do. So for example, in a noisy classroom, the teacher stopped talking suddenly. The teacher's voice cannot be heard, and the student wonder, what has happened to the teacher, and silence sets in. The signal was quietness, and the signal was the teacher voice will not be heard. So nga nung dili man madunggan. So similar things the teacher can do in order to signal what to do in classes instead of having to repeat directions again and again. This will help set classroom routines, things that happen normally on a regular basis. They don't have to be told every day. The teacher should have some signals that the students know what they are to do to be ready for the class. So this is what's similar to Pavlov that learning is association, associating signals for a particular action to be conducted by the students. Next, we have the operant conditioning is the process where a response in a learner is instrumental and thereby leads to a subsequent reinforcing event. So it was being applied by the teachers and also even parents. So for example, when Ate Pearl does really well in school, her teacher gives a treat or a teacher takes away a bad grade. So in this situation, the treat that Ate Pearl gets is positive reinforcement because Ate Pearl gets something that she wants, and the bad grade that taken away is negative reinforcement because Ate Pearl loses something that she doesn't want. Another scenario. Um, I am falling asleep during class. As a consequence, my teacher got upset and verbally scolded me to wake me up. The misbehavior of sleeping would then stop and May would start focus on classwork again. So in this instance, a stimulus was being presented, the verbal scolding, in order for the misbehavior to decrease. So we will call this positive punishment. And our last example, for example, a student using a cell phone during class. As a consequence for this misbehavior, the teacher could go over to the student desk and confiscate the cell phone. The student's misbehavior will decrease and they could focus on his work again. So due to a stimulus being removed, the misbehavior decrease, which will be called as negative punishment. Next, we have the verbal association. Occurs when the learner makes verbal responses to stimuli that are words or pairs of words. So we all know that now as the child grows and matures, he or she is better at using language. And again, this is behavioral. So the child learns more language and it's ready to use that additional language which he or she has learned. So the child learned to associate and link two or more words and ideas. Ideas are in the mind and all the students have ideas. So ideas are unspoken words because they are in their mind. So when the student have ideas, we will prompt them to tell you or to write them down before they will forget the ideas. And then they will learn to make the connections between words and ideas. So as a future educator, we must let the students understand that past life, present life, and future life have a connection. Last, we have the chaining. It's a process where a learner connects individual associations in sequence. So it is the process whereby most complex psychomotor skills are learned. So it is refers also to a method of teaching a behavior using behavior chains. Behavior chains are sequences of individual behaviors that, when linked together, form a terminal behavior. When teaching a behavior using chaining, the first step is to complete a task analysis. So it means that you will start in a simple, or like one stimulus first, then you will proceed to two or more stimulus until nga ang child maka learn siya only one stimulus, dili nimo siya pakalitan. And that's about chaining nga murag it is a sequence. Next, we will discuss about the five major categories of learning. So first, we have verbal information. It is being able to state ideas, knowing that, or having declarative language. So this is where the people can recall they've been taught in the past, such as naming objects, people, or events. Or also kanang recalling a person's birthday or hobbies, paraphrasing the meaning of textual materials, or stating rules and regulations. Second, we have intellectual skills, knowing how or having procedural knowledge. So, this involves the use of symbols such as numbers and language to interact with the environment. They involve knowing how to do something rather than knowing that about something. So, skills such as distinguishing musical pitches or calculating the earned run average of a baseball team. So, it talks about numbers. Then, we have the cognitive strategies. Having certain techniques of thinking, ways of analyzing problems, and having approaches to solving problems. So it refers to the process that learners guide their learning, remembering, and thinking. So for example, engaging in self-testing to decide how much study is needed, knowing what sort of questions to ask to best define a domain of knowledge, ability to form a mental model of the problem. Next, we have the motor skills, executing movements in a number of organized motor acts such as playing sports or driving a car. So these are the precise, smooth, and accurately timed executions of movements involving the use of muscles. So they are a distinct type of learning outcome and necessary to understand of the range of possible human performances. Last, we have attitudes, mental states that influence the choices of personal actions. So the internal state that influences the choices of personal actions made by an individual towards some class of things, person, or event. So something we feel on the side that leads us behave in a particular way. So attitude might be choosing to like recycle recycle. We recycle the garbage. So we believe it's important to recycle and keep our environment clean. And so that will influence our choice to go recycling and throw things away. So it means that we have our internal desire and what we are choosing for. Next, we have 9 events of instruction. So first, we have the event 1, gaining attention or reception. Start the learning process by gaining the attention of your audience. So in this event, you will ensure the learners are ready to learn and participate in activities by presenting a stimulus to gain their attention. So that's the first event that you need to do. Next, we have event 2, Informing learners of the objective or expectancy, learners must know what they are about to learn and why. So of course, after kuha na nimo ang attention sa imong audience, like your audience is the student, you will inform students of the objectives or outcomes to help them understand what they are to learn during the discussion. You will like sharing the goals of instruction with the learners. It allows the learners to organize their thoughts on what they will learn, what they will able to perform, and how they will be able to use their new skills. Next, we have the event 3, stimulating recall of prior learning or retrieval. Match the concept with what learners have previously learned. So you have the content, gi-share na nimo ang content and also your objectives. So this event helps students make sense of new information by relating it to something they already know or something they have already experienced. The teacher will ask the existing relevant knowledge in order for them to connect with their new learning. So of course, the content like 'di ba magklase ta and our discussion this day dapat mo connect siya for tomorrow, or like mga experience nga sa mga estudyante dapat i-connect po din mo na sa ilahang new learning. So next, we have the event 4, presenting the stimulus or selective perception. Present new information in an effective manner using different media and styles. So you may use strategies to present and cue lesson content to provide more effective, efficient instruction, organize and chunk content in a meaningful way, provide explanations after demonstration. So like, ga-demonstrate ka sa ilahang buhaton, of course, you will explain after kung unsalan imuhang ga-demonstrate to have better understanding of what you are discussing or what you are trying to say about to the students. Kay we need also to kuan ka ng imuhang kuanon ang capability sa estudyante. Not just only focus pa sa usa ka estudyante nga naka-learn na siya or nakabalo na siya in just a period of time. So dapat imong to have equal nga kanang makasabot po tong uban nga mas lower pa sa mga higher students, 'di ba? So that's all my report, and my preceding group mate will report the event 4, no, the event 5 until the event 9. Thank you.